Hi, I'm Roseanne, and welcome to Sunday Evening Sew. Happy Mother's Day weekend to all you moms, grandmoms, nanas, aunts, sisters, mothers to be, hopeful mothers to be, cat moms, dog moms. It's your day, it's your weekend. Spend a little bit of time doing something that you love to do just for yourself. So I thought, what an appropriate way to spend a little bit of time on Mother's Day talking about making a bridal robe. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to make it. There is a company, it's called Unbox to Dress. I have no affiliation with it whatsoever, but I've seen their website, I've seen their reviews. I don't know anyone personally who has gotten a bridal robe or accessories made from their gown from them, but from what I can tell, they do an excellent job. So this is my version of that. And as I said in my introductory video, a few years ago, I offered for a friend of mine who we grew up together, our daughters grew up together, and we got invited to their wedding. And I wanted to make a bridal robe for her daughter that was getting married out of my friend's wedding gown. It was not preserved, it was not cleaned, that was not a problem. It was completely made of lace, so I used the entire dress exclusively for that robe. It took me a long time. I learned a lot. I probably got in more over my head more than I thought I would, but it turned out beautiful. After it was finished, she got it dry cleaned and it sparkled like new, and she was thrilled with it. The daughter was thrilled with it, and I hope it can be passed down. And then after that, my oldest daughter got engaged. So I knew it was time to cut up my wedding dress. After I got married in 1990, I had it cleaned, had it preserved, put in a box, styrofoam box with the window, blue wrapping, big cardboard box. And then when my kids were still home, my one daughter, smart aleck that she was, she goes, "Mom, what if it's not your dress in the box? What if it's somebody else's?" It's about maybe 10, 15 years after we got married, and I had it preserved, and I thought, well, maybe it isn't. I thought I wasn't planning on opening it up till 20, 30 years later when the time came, but I thought I'm going to open it just to make sure, because it does happen. So I opened it, took it out, and yes, it was my dress. They preserved it beautifully. Then it went back in the box. Last time I tried it on was our 30-year wedding anniversary. It semi-fit me, but like I said, I went through cancer and I had reconstruction, so it was a little tight, and yeah, I knew I was never ever going to wear it again. It was outdated. It was from the 1990s. It was beautiful. It was my Cinderella dress that I wanted. Let me flip here. I can show you a picture. Maybe. Maybe not. No, we'll do it this way. But it was that dress there, back from 1990. And so, I put it back into the box, held it. And then when my oldest daughter got married, I decided, it's time to cut it up and to attempt to make a bridal robe out of it. So that is what I did. And this is that robe. So this is what I'm going to be showing you. Like I said, my other daughter who's getting married this September, I'm working on her robe. So it's going to be somewhat similar to my oldest daughter's robe, but not exactly. And I can't show that to you yet because, I want it to be somewhat of a surprise for her. She knows I'm working on it. She knows what it's kind of going to be like, but she doesn't know the details of it. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So let's see. Can I flip? Maybe not. Might have to do it this way. So we'll do it this way. That's okay. I'm still learning this video thing, so excuse me. But this is the robe. And this is the pattern I use. I did not construct my own pattern. I just used, it was a simple one from McCall's. I used that pattern to make the robe. And I did not cut up the original pattern. I do not like to do that. So what I do is I get something that's called Patternese. You can still get it. I don't know if you can get it from Joann's, but, and I trace. So it's kind of like, it's almost like interfacing, but that's what I use. And that way I use that for all my patterns. And that way I don't ruin the original pattern, because once you cut the size of the pattern, you know, you have that size and that's it. And I wanted to be able to use it over and over again. So I use that. And when I did completely cut my dress apart, this is almost what I have left. I have appliques left, appliques with sequins. This is from the front of my dress. This is from the sleeves. I don't know what I'm doing with those, but these are all the beads. I said it was very sparkly, very beady. I do have, this was the front of my dress, and I took all the beading off. You know, that was the back. Like I said, I will never fit into it again, but I did not want to cut this part of it up. What I'll ever use it for, I don't know. Maybe a great-great-granddaughter down the road. Maybe she'll want to use it as a top, who knows. But so what I did, and now I did not use the base of the dress. I bought satin from Joann's. I bought satin from Joann's because the base layer of my dress, it was a very heavy satin and it did not drape. And it had to drape well. So, because my dress was a layer of satin, then it had a layer of like crinoline to make it poof out, and it had a layer of organza over it. So there was a lot of fabric on it, but I did not want to use the base. So this fabric here I bought from Joann's. I bought a couple yards. You know, I got it on sale. This part, the banding, was the satin from my dress. The pockets were the satin from my dress. Now the pockets, I basically took all the beads off and I hand sewed them and re-sewed them back on. So that's what I did for that. The bottom of this dress was actually, and the sleeves was actually the lace from the whole front of my dress. And that I sewed with my machine. I sewed it with my Bernina. I went slow and it was so much easier. You can't really see it. And I used lace to cover up the hem because at that time I did not know how to use my serger. You know, it was after I completed this robe that I actually learned to use my serger. But this is what makes this robe special, because my daughter loves lace. She was my first one, so this was like the whole front of my dress pretty much. And I did not want to cut it up, did not want to take the beads off, so I cut around it and I put it on the back of my daughter's robe. And again, you know, there were some sequins that were coming loose, so I hand sewed them on, but all this I sewed with my Bernina. At that time I had my Artista 730. It did a beautiful job, but this one does a much nicer job because it has more space in here. And I did not have the clear foot for my daughter's dress, but now I do. And I used a straight stitch hole, so that way the fabric does not get a chance to get sucked down into the feed dogs. I used superior monofilament thread, which is basically like real thin fishing line. Use that on the top. Use just cotton polyester in the bobbin. You lower your tension a lot. You practice on scrap fabric. You take your time, you go nice and slow, and this is what it is. You know, when they say nothing sews like a Bernina, they are correct, because nothing does sew like it. You can take your time, you go slow, it's so precise. But yeah, so that was my daughter's dress. And then to finish it off, this is when my good friend that I know, I took it over to her and she told me, she goes, you need to learn how to use your serger. So I took it to her and she serged it for me on her serger. And then she told me, she goes, you learn to use yours. So that's when I sat down and I learned to use mine. And that's what I'm using to make my next daughter's robe. So I'm learning more every time. But then also what I did is I made a label. I don't know if you can see it good, but I did it on my Bernina, just the embroidery, and it had my name, my husband's name, our wedding date, and my daughter's name and her husband's name and their wedding date. And this flower here was actually one of the little covers that covered up the little hook that they used to bustle the dress. And my dress was so big that I think they had to use like 5 or 6 hooks. So I had, a bunch of these little flowers. So I used that and I put it into the label. I don't know if you can see, but I used a nice decorative stitch and I hand sewed it on. And yeah, she loved it. She was happy with it. Made her cry. Made me cry. So, it can be done if you have patience, lots of patience, have a little bit of sewing knowledge. You can do it yourself. If not, like I said, there's a company called Unbox the Dress, and they will do it for you. Like I said, I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. It just happened to pop up on Facebook because I was searching bridal robes and they came up. But yeah, what a way to preserve your wedding gown. And I do have some left over, some for me. I have some left. I have one more daughter in the future. If she gets married, I have some to make her a robe. And then the rest, I'm going to keep for me. What I'm going to do with it, I don't know. Maybe I'll make a pillow for myself. I'll figure it out. But that's just a little bit on how to make a bridal robe on this Mother's Day. So, yeah, I hope everybody had a beautiful Mother's Day weekend. Have a beautiful Mother's Day, beautiful night. Spend a little bit of time for yourself. Remember, you need a little me time. Me time. So, okay, I'll see everybody in maybe a week, maybe a few weeks. And until then, remember, every day is a gift. Enjoy it.